Hey everyone, welcome back. I had to take a little break because I wasn't on my game, so I didn't want to be teaching out of a different mindset when I'm not focused on, what actually works, right? So took a break to myself, a little vacation, and I've been trading and we're back in the swing of things. So back to the mentorship, week 18, and this is crucial because this is something that I had to go back kind of refresh when was my best trading and what was I doing. And these screenshots came in handy. So what you're going to do is when you take these screenshots, it's not just a picture of the chart. Although for if you're just starting out, maybe taking screenshots of different charts and just having them for you to look at and maybe just draw on and understand price, right? And just kind of be with it. You could do that, but for the purpose of this, we need to be in detail. We need to mark it up, why we took the trade, the reason, key levels, where were partials taken, where would you move your stop loss, or where did you move your stop loss if you did move it, and then the final RR, day of week, all that stuff. So I am going to jump in the charts right now and kind of show you how I would do it. Now, this is basically all I do now. But I'm going to go through it and pretend that we're taking a real trade, right? So originally I had it like this. Okay. So I got to move it back here because this is what got me into the trade. All right. So two things. Downtrend. So basically consolidation, downtrend, whatever you want. I guess consolidation would be a better word, but any of those. Broke out of consolidation. Okay. And then the second thing that my attention was, now we didn't really cover this too much, and I'll go in depth as our last, training. We'll go through my entire setup, which we're basically going to do right now. But in depth, we'll go with more examples at the end of the mentorship. So price above VWAP. So that's two things showing bullish bias, right? So once this candle closed, this one right here, I wait for one like pullback candle. Unless it's just running, then I'll get in on the next candle close. But this one had a pullback right away, right after we broke out, right? So that was like, okay, that's a fair price. I'm not too worried about this wick because this might just be a short-term play, right? Like it didn't want to break this high, so it's going to come back down. Liquidity taken and went into this. So I got pretty close on my stop loss. And what I did for the stop loss, which I think why I got really close and didn't take me out, was I put it below 50% of that big wick right there. So put it right at that 66 and held me in and went right to 50%, right on the dot. So I could have waited for that pullback, could have entered in on a fair value gap right there. There's many ways to enter, but lately on the 1 minute, I'm finding success on getting continuations. So broke out, had the pullback candle. I'm going to take this off. Stop loss at 50%. So I would say, okay, so now we have an idea of our stop loss. And I had this here because I thought this was going to get taken out. And again, if I was bearish, I would want it to go this way. So did not happen. After that pullback, I drew this line out. Originally it was here, but once I got in the trade, I moved it down to here. And this would kind of be the gauge for me if we're still going towards this target, right? So my first partials were, so what I do is I do 2 to 1, right? So I lock in 2 to 1, and then my partials go along the way. So my first partial was at 66 right here. So 0.66, which is 33% of the whole trade, right? So I take partials off there. And then price came down. And once it made this low right here, my stop loss was moved up. not there. I usually go just a little bit below it, right? So if it does come back, which it did, it protects me. So my stop loss is now here. So stop loss partials was at 66. And I'm kind of rushing through this, but I would make it a lot more cleaner, right? And then next partial was at 33, which is 66% of the trade. So there's partials again. And then once that happened, my second stop loss when I moved it was above the partial, but then the next it never really made a swing. So I just put it under this down close candle. So I locked in, even if the trade goes against me now, I still locked in at least 33% of my trade plan, right? So then it came down again. Once it made this low right here, that's when I moved it up to just under this. So I wanted that and that. So I put it right underneath here. And then from there, just wrote it out till it got to the top. So what you'll want to do now is take a screenshot, and I could also explain here how once we were at 9:30 to the open, we took out the London right here, and London was accumulating, right? Like there wasn't really much range compared to what we did. So took out 9:30 was coming in, that's down here. And then I waited, and then boom, struck. Because why? Well, once we were at 10:15, I already felt like we were up. These wicks said we're continuing up. We kind of got above this level, right? Poked above London. Now it could have reversed, and I would have had to readjust. But again, the VWAP helped me on the lower time frame say we're still looking good to keep pushing up. This could just be a pullback accumulation zone before we keep going up, which is what happened. But it was just what I was thinking at the time, and if it played out, cool. If not, again, we could have broke below this, and then I would have had to rechange what I was going to think about for the day, right? And then the other thing was kind of weird was dollar, you could see was going up with it for all the way till, what is that? Pretty much the whole time, right? That was the only thing concerning for me. I knew we melted off at the beginning, right? But then once we got to, or is it 10? Yeah, 10, 15, it started going with me. So that's maybe why it chopped a little bit more, but I was just that part was concerning. So I would put all these notes on, right? Take a screenshot, download image, so that way you could save it. Or if you just have you just want to document everything, you could post it to Twitter if you want. Sometimes that's how I do my screenshots, but you'll download this and then you could save it. So then when you look at this picture, you'll know exactly why you took everything, right? I would put these notes where they make sense. Move stop loss because of partial 1, move stop loss, partial 2, new low, move stop loss, explain all this, explain this, put notes here. So when you look at this, you know exactly the story, what your game plan, why you did what you did. And if you get in the habit and being able to, when you're off your game, go look at these, it will keep you on track and remind you, hey, this is what's worked in the past. Look at how great it worked. Keep focusing on this because it will work out, right? So keep doing this day after day. Even when you're back testing, do these type of screenshots. So that way you really know your system. So when you're in the charts, you don't have to add all this, right? You just do it. And then it's built in you, right? Muscle memory. So that is the lesson for this week. So spend this week doing that as well as any of our past exercises in the lessons. I have about 6-7 more weeks planned for this mentorship, and then I could get more into just trading the system that I use and breaking that down in depth after that. So hope you enjoyed this. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click that thumbs up, and I'll see you next week.